Kara lived alone in the small house at the edge of town. Her neighbors rarely visited, and she preferred it that way. After losing her parents 2 years ago, she found comfort in solitude. Her job at the local research lab kept her busy during weekdays, but weekends stretched long and empty. She spent most nights on her porch gazing at the stars, wondering if someone out there felt as alone as she did. The summer night hung heavy with the scent of pine and soil. Kara sat on her porch swing, a cup of tea cooling beside her. The stars shone brighter than usual, almost pulsing with energy. She noticed a strange pattern forming in the sky, a swirl of light that grew larger with each passing minute. At first, she thought it might be the northern lights, unusual for this region but not impossible. The lights descended slowly, taking shape and form. Kara stood up, heart racing. Should she run inside? Call someone? What good would that do in this remote area? Blinding flash filled her yard, forcing her to shield her eyes. When she looked again, a tall figure stood on her lawn beside a smaller one. The taller one had to be at least 7 feet, with broad shoulders and a slim waist. Her skin caught the moonlight and reflected it like polished chrome. Her eyes glowed soft purple in the darkness, illuminating sharp cheekbones and a strong jaw. Beside the tall figure stood a child no more than 8 or 9 years old. The child looked almost human, except for the same metallic skin and glowing eyes, smaller and rounder. Her hair fell in silver waves around a face filled with fear. Kara froze, unsure what to do. The tall figure approached slowly, one hand raised in what seemed like a peaceful gesture. The other hand held something that looked like a weapon, sleek and humming with energy. "We mean no harm." The tall one spoke, her voice melodic with an accent Kara had never heard before. "We seek sanctuary." Those words broke Kara's trance. Sanctuary? From what? Who are you? The tall figure stopped, a respectful distance away. "I am Nira, warrior of the Valari people. This is my daughter, Lyra. We have traveled far to escape those who hunt us. Our ship cannot travel farther without repairs." Kara glanced at the child, who clutched a small device in her tiny hands. The girl looked exhausted, dark circles under her glowing eyes. She reminded Kara of the refugee children she had seen on news reports. Something in Kara's chest softened at the sight. "Please," she found herself saying. "Come inside. You can explain everything there." Nira hesitated, then nodded, guiding her daughter forward. Their movements were graceful, almost fluid as they climbed the porch steps. Kara noticed how Nira constantly scanned the surroundings, her free hand never far from her weapon. Inside the living room, the aliens seemed out of place. Nira, too tall for the furniture, sat perched on the edge of the sofa. Her daughter curled beside her, looking tiny against her mother's powerful frame. "I have water," Kara offered, bringing glasses from the kitchen. "Would that be okay for you?" Nira nodded gratefully. "We can process most earth substances. Your water is safe for us." As they drank, Kara studied them more closely. Nira wore what appeared to be armor, fitted perfectly to her form. Made of some metallic substance, it shifted colors slightly with each movement. Despite her imposing size, there was something feminine about her features, refined and elegant. The child, Lyra, wore simpler clothing that resembled a jumpsuit. Her eyes kept darting around the room, taking in the human dwelling with curiosity. "Why Earth?" Kara asked finally. "Why here?" Nira set down her glass. "Your planet remains unknown to most galactic civilizations, hidden in what we call the quiet sector. Few maps show its location. The Draenei have not yet reached this far." The Draenei, Kara repeated the unfamiliar name. Nira's face darkened. "A warrior race bent on conquest. They seek to control all worlds with valuable resources. But they hunt us for another reason." She glanced at her daughter, who had begun examining a book from Kara's shelf. "Lyra is special." Nira continued, lowering her voice. "She carries a genetic trait rare among our kind, the ability to absorb and redirect energy. The Draenei wish to harness this power for their weapons." The child looked up at the mention of her name, seemingly understanding despite Nira's attempt at discretion. "I did not ask for this gift," she said, her voice small but clear. It hurts sometimes. Kara felt a surge of protective instinct. She is just a child that matters little to the Draenei, Nira replied. They have destroyed entire colonies searching for her. My mate died defending our homeworld. I managed to escape with Lyra, but our ship sustained damage during pursuit. We need time to repair it. 2 of your Earth weeks, perhaps. 2 weeks of harboring aliens. Kara thought it sounded crazy dangerous even. Yet looking at the exhausted child and her protective mother, she could not find it in herself to refuse. You can stay, she said finally. But we need rules. My nearest neighbor is a mile away, but people do visit occasionally. You cannot be seen. Nira nodded, understanding. If you provide shelter, we will remain hidden. Our presence must not endanger you. That night, Kara prepared her spare bedroom. It had been her parents' room once, now it held only a bed and empty dresser. Nira insisted on examining the entire house, checking windows and doors, placing small devices in corners. They are sensors, Nira explained. They will alert us if anyone approaches. Lyra fell asleep almost immediately, her small body curled beneath Kara's spare blankets. In sleep she looked so vulnerable, so much like a human child. Kara stood watching her for a moment, struck by the strangeness of it all. Nira joined her at the doorway. She travels well, but the journey has exhausted her. Thank you for your kindness. Kara shrugged, uncertain how to respond to gratitude from an alien warrior. I couldn't turn away, a child. Nira studied her with those strange purple eyes. In this we find common ground. The protection of children is sacred to the Valari too, later alone in her bedroom. Kara wondered if she had lost her mind. Aliens in her spare room. A warrior mother and her special child hunted across the stars. It seemed like something from the science fiction novels she occasionally read, yet the weight of Nira's weapon, the strange humming of the sensors, the metallic sheen of their skin, none of it could be explained away. Sleep came fitfully, filled with dreams of stars going dark one by one as something massive moved through the cosmos. She woke several times thinking she heard noises, only to find the house silent. Each time she checked on her guests, finding Lyra sleeping peacefully, and Nira sitting alert beside the window, her purple eyes scanning the night sky. Morning brought a semblance of normality. Kara made coffee for herself and offered breakfast to her guests. Lyra approached the human food with caution, but soon discovered a love for maple syrup. The child poured it generously over everything, making Nira frown with maternal disapproval. We must begin repairs today, Nira announced. Our ship lies hidden in the forest behind your dwelling. I must retrieve components. Kara glanced at the clock. I have to go to work. I can't call in sick without questions. Lyra looked up from her syrup-covered toast. What is work? Kara smiled. Despite herself. I study plants at a laboratory in town. The child's eyes brightened. Plants like these. She pointed to the small potted succulents on Kara's windowsill. Similar, yes. Kara said, we try to make them stronger, more resistant to disease. Nira considered this. Our people do similar work. Lyra shows aptitude for biological sciences. She comes from a line of healers before the war. Before Kara could respond, a sound cut through the morning quiet, the distant rumble of a vehicle approaching her isolated home. Nira stiffened immediately, moving to the window. It's okay, Kara said, recognizing the sound. That's just Susan. She delivers mail to the remote houses. She never comes inside. Nira grabbed her weapon, hide Lyra. Now she guided her daughter toward the back of the house. Stay silent. Kara went outside, attempting to look casual as the mail truck pulled up. Susan, a middle-aged woman with graying hair, waved cheerfully. Got a package today, she called. Must be those seeds you ordered. Kara forced a smile, taking the small box. Yes, thanks. I was expecting. These. Susan lingered longer than usual. Everything okay? You look tired, just working late. Kara lied, been studying a new plant species. Susan nodded, though she looked unconvinced. Thought I saw lights in the sky last night. Really strange. Almost called the observatory. Probably just satellites, right, Kara? maintained her smile. Probably. After Susan finally drove away, Kara hurried back inside, finding Nira in a defensive stance behind the door. The warrior relaxed slightly, but her expression remained tense. "Your people are observant," she said. "This complicates matters. If others noticed our arrival, the Draenei will find us sooner." "How would they know?" Kara asked, confused. "The Draenei monitor communications primitive and advanced. They search for anomalies, reports of strange sightings." She placed a hand on Kara's shoulder. "Your world remains hidden, but not for long. If we stay fear settled in Kara's stomach, is Earth in danger because of you?" Nira did not lie. "Yes, eventually the Draenei would find this world. They always do. But not for many of your years, perhaps. Decades. They hunt us specifically now. Lyra specifically." The child emerged from hiding, looking solemn beyond her years. "I am sorry," she said to Kara. "I bring danger to your home." Something broke in Kara's heart. At those words, she knelt to meet the alien. Child's eyes, no little one. "This isn't your fault." She looked up at Nira, straightening her shoulders. "I took a risk letting you stay. Am not backing out now. Tell me how to help with your ship." Nira's expression shifted slightly, the closest thing to a smile Kara had seen from her. "We will need materials. Some can be found in your forest, others we must create." Kara nodded decisively, making a choice that would forever alter her life, and possibly the fate of. The research laboratory where Kara worked stood nestled among pine trees. Its modern glass structure reflected the surrounding forest, making it seem almost part of nature. Perfect for her plan. No one questioned her taking samples and small equipment. Many researchers did the same, working on personal projects after hours. Kara filled her bag, carefully selecting items Nira had requested. Conductive metals, various chemicals, a small portable microscope. Guilt nagged at her, but she pushed it aside. These things would help protect a child. That mattered more than company policy. The lab director, Patricia, noticed her packing up early. "Everything all right?" "You never leave before 6, just feeling under the weather." Kara lied, hating how easily the falsehoods now came. "Must be something I ate." Patricia nodded sympathetically. "Take care then. Hope you're better tomorrow, driving home." Kara kept checking her rearview mirror, paranoid that someone might follow her. The weight of her decision pressed heavier with each passing mile. What had begun as a simple act of kindness now felt like something much larger, possibly dangerous. She found Nira in the backyard examining the soil. The warrior had removed parts of her armor, revealing a simple, fitted garment underneath. Without the intimidating metal plates, she looked almost human except for her height and metallic skin. Lyra played nearby, collecting leaves and stones, arranging them in patterns. The child looked up at Kara's approach, her face brightening. "I found 17 different plant species," she announced proudly. Kara smiled, setting down her bag of stolen supplies. "I bet there's even more if you look carefully." Nira approached, examining the bag with approval. These will help. Her fingers brushed against a small metal canister. "This alloy is similar to components in our navigation system." Together they walked deeper into the forest, following a path only Nira could see. After 15 minutes of hiking, they reached a small clearing. There, nestled between ancient oaks, sat what Kara could only describe as a teardrop-shaped pod, about the size of a small car. Its surface rippled with colors that seemed to absorb and reflect light simultaneously. "Our transport vessel," Nira explained, "smaller than our main ship. It carries 2 comfortably." She placed her hand on its surface, and a section slid open, revealing a cockpit filled with controls that glowed with soft light. Kara stared in wonder. Everything she had ever studied, everything humans thought they knew about physics and space travel, suddenly seemed primitive. She reached toward the ship, then hesitated. "You may touch it," Nira said. "It recognizes friendly contact." The surface felt warm, alive almost. It vibrated slightly beneath her fingertips. Responding to her touch, Kara gasped when small lights followed the path of her hand. "We have similar technology in the lab, but nothing like this." Nira began removing damaged components, explaining their functions as she worked. Lyra sat nearby, sorting the supplies Kara had brought. The child understood the technical aspects better than Kara did occasionally, correcting her mother or suggesting alternatives. Mother Lyra said suddenly, "The navigation core shows microfractures." Nira examined the small crystal her daughter held. "It's worse than I thought. Without this, we cannot plot safe passages through space. Can you fix it?" Kara asked. Nira shook her head. "It requires specific minerals, found on only a few worlds. None on Earth as far as we know." She looked troubled. "We must send a signal to any Valari vessels that might be searching for survivors. Is that safe?" Kara asked, "Will the Draenei detect it?" "A calculated risk," Nira admitted, "but necessary. Without proper navigation, we risk materializing inside a star or planet." Her eyes met. Kara's death would be instantaneous. That night they ate a simple meal together, Lyra fascinated by human food, tried everything with curiosity. Her favorite became peanut butter, which she ate by the spoonful, making Kara laugh. The domesticity of the scene felt surreal, a human and two aliens sharing dinner as if it were perfectly normal. As darkness fell, Nira set up the communication device outside, a small pyramid-shaped object that hovered above the ground. It spun, slowly emitting a soft blue light that shot skyward in a narrow beam, invisible, except when it passed through clouds. "Will your people find you?" Kara asked, watching the beam disappear into the night sky, if any survived. Nira said, her voice heavy with "Cersei, doubt the Draenei attacked without warning. Our defenses fell quickly. I know of only 3 ships that escaped the initial assault." Lyra slipped her small hand into her mother's. The child said nothing, but Kara saw tears shimmering in her purple eyes. A universal gesture of grief, Kara realized. Some things transcended species. 2 days passed in relative peace. Nira worked tirelessly on the ship. Kara continued going to work, bringing back supplies when possible. Lyra explored the forest, cataloging plants and insects with methodical precision. The child created detailed drawings, recording her findings in both Earth English and her native language, a series of symbols that shifted and changed depending on meaning. On the 3rd day, everything changed. Kara came home from work to find Nira standing alert in the front yard, weapon drawn. The warrior motioned for silence, pointing skyward. Nothing seemed amiss at first. Then Kara noticed it, an absence of sound. No birds, no insects. Even the wind seemed to have stopped. She felt it. Then a vibration, more sensed than heard. "They come," Nira said, her voice tight. "They have found the signal." Fear crashed through Kara. How many? Nira's eyes narrowed as she scanned the sky. 1 ship scout class. 2 maybe. 3 warriors. Nothing we cannot handle if we prepare. She turned to Kara. "You should leave. This is not your fight." Kara straightened her shoulders. "This is my home, my planet. I stay." Something like respect flickered in Nira's purple eyes. "Then we prepare." She handed Kara a small device the size of a cell phone. "This will disrupt their sensors. Point and activate inside the house." Lyra had already packed their few belongings. The child moved with practiced efficiency, clearly accustomed to quick escapes. Her small face set in determined lines. She handed Kara a necklace, a simple crystal on a cord. "For protection," she said. "It absorbs energy. Keep it close." They moved the ship deeper into the forest, disguising it with branches and leaves. Nira positioned sensor devices in a wide perimeter around Kara's house. As darkness fell, they waited inside, lights off, windows covered. Lyra sat between them on the couch, her small body tense. The child clutched her drawing pad filled with Earth observations. Kara realized with a pang that this might be all that remained of their time here, all that remained of her if things went badly. A brilliant light cut through the sky, illuminating the forest like midday. Kara peered through a crack in the curtains, watching as a black vessel descended. Its design reminded her of a manta ray, sleek and predatory, with wings that folded inward as it landed. The craft made no sound. an eerie silence accompanying its arrival. Nira checked her weapon, a long staff that expanded from what had looked like a simple baton. It hummed with energy, the ends glowing purple in the darkness. "Stay with Lyra," she instructed Kara. "Use the disruptor only if they approach the house." Before Kara could protest, Nira slipped outside, moving with astonishing speed despite her size. The warrior melted into the shadows, becoming nearly invisible in the darkness. Lyra pressed against Kara's side. "I can help," she whispered. "My abilities." Kara shook her head firmly. "Your mother wants you safe. That's how we help." Minutes stretched like hours. Occasional flashes of light illuminated the forest. Kara caught glimpses of movement, figures darting between trees. The hum of energy weapons created an otherworldly backdrop to the conflict. A crash from the back of the house made them both jump. Kara pulled Lyra behind the couch, raising the disruptor with shaking hands. A figure appeared in the kitchen doorway, tall and menacing. Nothing like Nira. This being wore armor that seemed to absorb light, its helmet a featureless mask with no visible eyes. Kara pressed the button on the disruptor. A wave of energy shot forward. The Draenei warrior staggered momentarily, then continued advancing. Lyra gripped Kara's arm, her tiny fingers digging in the crystal. She whispered, "Say my name and break it." The Draenei raised its weapon, a glowing red barrel pointing directly at them. Kara clutched the crystal necklace Lyra had given her. "Lyra," she cried out, snapping the crystal in her fist. Light exploded outward, a sphere of purple energy expanding from the broken crystal. The Draenei warrior flew backward, crashing through the wall. The energy continued expanding, stopping at the edge of the room, containing them in a protective bubble. Lyra swayed beside her, clearly weakened by whatever had just happened. The child offered a faint smile. "That was part of me," she explained. "A piece of my ability stored for emergency." Outside, a final flash of light illuminated the night, followed by silence. Kara held her, breath clutching Lyra close. Minutes passed, then footsteps approached, heavy. Familiar footsteps. Nira appeared at the doorway, her armor damaged in several places. Silver blood dripped from a cut on her face, but she stood. "Tall, it is done," she announced. "3 warriors, as I predicted. They underestimated us." She noticed the protective bubble surrounding Kara and Lyra, raising an eyebrow. "Desperate measures." I see. Lyra ran to her mother, hugging her tightly. The bubble dissipated as her concentration broke. Nira lifted her daughter with one arm, examining the damage to the house with a critical eye. "We cannot stay here," Nira said. "The scout ship will be missed. Others will come." Kara looked around at her home, now bearing scorch marks, broken walls, and shattered windows. The life she had known was over, regardless of what happened next. "What about your ship?" she asked. "Is it ready?" Space unfolded before Kara in ways no human telescope had ever captured. The darkness between stars teemed with colors humans could not name. Ribbons of energy connected celestial bodies like cosmic highways. The repurposed Draenei ship hummed beneath her fingers as she gripped the observation seat. "How far to your rendezvous point?" she asked, watching Earth shrink to a blue marble, then a dot, then nothing. Nira adjusted controls at the main console. 3 rotations by your measure." 3 days. 3 very long days. She glanced at Kara. "Your body will need time to adapt. The ship generates an internal gravity field, but space travel affects species differently." Lyra floated nearby, delighted with the zero-gravity bubble Nira had created for her. In one corner of the ship, the child somersaulted gracefully, her silver hair forming a halo around her head. "Watch me, Kara." "Watch me," Kara smiled, despite the knot of anxiety in her stomach. She had made an irrevocable decision, leaving Earth behind. Her scientific mind cataloged everything from the ship's construction to the feeling of artificial gravity pulling slightly differently than Earth's. The panels and controls responded to touch, thought, and voice, sometimes all 3. The entire vessel seemed alive, almost sentient. "The ship belonged to our enemies, but its core intelligence has been reset," Nira explained, noting Kara's fascination. "It recognizes us as commanders now and will obey accordingly." Would you like to learn basic navigation? The next hours passed in a blur of information. Nira proved a patient teacher, showing Kara how to interpret the three-dimensional star maps that hovered in the air, how to identify different types of space anomalies. Some Kara recognized from human astronomy, black holes, nebulae, stellar nurseries. Others defied categorization tears in spacetime, living gas clouds, sentient radiation. Lyra joined them, demonstrating a natural aptitude for celestial mechanics. The child explained concepts sometimes more clearly than her warrior mother, occasionally correcting Nira's more technical descriptions. You understand quickly for a species new to space travel, Nira observed as Kara successfully plotted a minor course adjustment. It took the Valari generations to develop such navigation. Kara shrugged. We dream about the stars. We always have. Our stories, art, music, all filled with space travel. We just haven't figured out how to do it. Yet dreams matter, Lyra said solemnly. They show the path before the feet can walk it. Sleep cycles aboard the ship followed no planetary rhythm. Nira required little rest. 4 hours for every 20, Kara adjusted gradually, her body fighting, then surrendering to the new pattern. Lyra slept like most children, deeply and completely, often curled against whoever happened to be nearest. During one rest cycle, Kara awoke to find Nira staring at a small hologram projected from her wrist device. The image showed another Valari warrior with broader shoulders and gentler eyes, surrounded by what appeared to be a garden of crystalline plants. Your mate? Kara asked softly. Nira nodded, closing her fist to dissolve the image. Viridian, chief botanist of our colony. She died protecting the evacuation ships. Her eyes remained fixed on the spot where the image had been. I felt her death across the stars. Kara remained silent, understanding there were no adequate words. She gave her life so Lyra could escape. Nira continued, so our people might survive. The Draenei wanted her research as much as they wanted our daughter. Her manipulation of energy plants created sustainable power for entire worlds. The loss of both knowledge and love. Kara said, a weight settling in her chest. I can't imagine. Nira turned those intense purple eyes toward her. You left your world behind, your research, your home. That requires courage. Not the same kind. Kara protested. I wasn't facing death. The warrior's expression softened slightly. All great journeys carry the risk of death, even if we do not see the danger. At the beginning, she hesitated, then added, you honor Viridian's memory by helping protect our daughter. She would have liked you, your curiosity, your kindness. The conversation shifted, something subtle, changing between them. No longer simply human and alien, but two beings sharing grief and purpose. Kara learned more about Valari culture in those quiet hours than in all the technical explanations before. Their reverence for knowledge, their belief in the interconnectedness of all living things, their tradition of marking life transitions with crystalline implants that changed color with experience. On the second day, alarms blared through the ship. Nira moved with blinding speed, checking systems. Her expression hardened. We're being scanned, Draenei? Kara asked, heart racing. Nira shook her head. Unknown. Possibly trading vessel, possibly scavenger. She manipulated controls, adjusting their energy signature. We've altered this ship's appearance, but its core remains Draenei. Some might recognize the pattern. Lyra pressed against Kara, fear evident in her young face. The child whispered, they always find us. Kara stroked the silvery hair, remembering how she had comforted children in her extended family. Not this time. Little one, we're faster and smarter. The unknown. Ship changed course, moving toward them. Nira cursed in her native language, a sound like crystal chimes breaking. They approached defensive positions. The ship had no weapons, Nira had explained earlier. The Draenei scout vessel carried only scanning technology, designed for reconnaissance, not combat. Their only advantage lay in speed and maneuverability. Kara secured Lyra in the safety chamber, a small reinforced area at the ship's core, then joined Nira at the controls. What can I do? Navigate, Nira said sharply, thrusting a portable star chart toward her. Find us a hiding place. Something to mask our signal. Kara studied the three-dimensional map, looking for anything that might conceal them. A planetary ring, a debris field, her eyes fixed on a swirling cloud of gas and dust nearby. Radiation signatures indicated heavy mineral content. That, she pointed, will it interfere with their scanners? Nira nodded approval. Good thinking. She adjusted their course, accelerating toward the nebula. The pursuing ship gained, speed matching their trajectory. Distance to intercept, Nira demanded from the ship's computer. 12 minutes 16 seconds, came the reply, a feminine voice with a metallic undertone. Not enough time, Nira muttered. We must distract them. She turned to Kara. Do you trust me? Kara nodded without hesitation. The warrior pressed a sequence of controls. A small portion of the ship detached, breaking away in the opposite direction of their flight path. It carries our previous energy signature, Nira explained. Should buy us 3 minutes, perhaps 4. The pursuing ship hesitated, then divided. Its main body continued toward them while a smaller craft peeled off, following the decoy. Kara watched the distance shrinking on the scanner. 6 minutes to interception. Enough time, Nira said grimly. We must use Lyra's abilities. No, Kara protested. She's just a child. Nira's eyes flashed. The child is Valerie, a warrior by birth even if not by training. Her abilities exist to protect her and our people. Before Kara could respond, Lyra emerged from the safety chamber. I want to help, she said, her small voice steady. I can create a pulse that will disable their systems temporarily. Nira knelt before her daughter. You understand the cost. The weakness that follows. Lyra nodded. Solemnly, I am not afraid. Kara watched the exchange, torn between human protectiveness and respect for their culture. She's channeled energy before, but nothing this big. Kara said. What will it do to her? Exhaustion, Nira answered simply. Perhaps unconsciousness. Her body must recover from channeling such power. She will not die. The pursuing ship launched something toward them, small objects barely visible on the scanner. Seeker drones, Nira identified. 3 minutes to contact. Lyra moved to the center of the ship's bridge. Her small feet planted firmly on the metal deck. She closed her eyes, holding her hands outward. The air around her began to shimmer with purple light. Her silver hair lifted as if in a breeze, though no air moved in the sealed compartment. Nira touched controls, activating a supportive field around her daughter. The field will direct the energy outward, protect the ship's systems. Kara watched in fascination and horror as the child's body began to glow from within. Light pulsed beneath her, metallic skin following the pattern of veins and arteries. The temperature in the cabin rose significantly, sweat beading on Kara's forehead. The seeker drones reached them, surrounding the ship. Small metallic spheres with protruding sensors. They attached to the hull, their lights blinking in sequence, attempting to override the ship's security. Now Nira commanded. Lyra's eyes snapped open, glowing with brilliant purple light. She thrust her hands forward. A visible wave of energy exploded outward in all directions. The ship shuddered. The lights dimmed momentarily, then stabilized. The seeker drones detached, drifting away, dark and powerless. The pursuing ship slowed, its systems flickering visibly, even from a distance. Nira wasted no time. Maximum acceleration. Course into the nebula. The ship responded instantly, lurching forward. Kara grabbed a support rail to keep her balance. Lyra collapsed to the deck, her small body suddenly limp. Kara reached her first, gathering the child into her arms. The girl's skin felt cold despite the ambient heat. Her pulse fluttered, weak but steady. As they entered the nebula, visibility dropped to near zero. Gases and dust particles engulfed them, creating a cocoon of swirling colors. The ship's sensors struggled to maintain coherence, proximity warnings blaring as debris struck the hull. Nira navigated by instinct more than instrumentation, her hands dancing across controls, her face set in fierce concentration. Turn off unnecessary systems, she ordered the ship. Minimal, life support only, no external communications. The Volari flagship, Verdant Dawn, dwarfed the small scout ship. a massive vessel shaped like an elongated leaf with spiraling towers and crystalline observation domes. Their ship docked in a cavernous bay alongside other smaller craft. Some showed battle-damaged scorch marks and twisted metal. Telling silent stories of narrow escapes, Valerie moved with purpose throughout the bay. Tall metallic figures in various shades, from bronze to silver to gunmetal black. Most wore simple functional clothing, though some displayed armor similar to Nira's. Many bore crystal implants glowing softly against their skin, marking status, specialization, or lineage. Kara felt overwhelmingly alien, the only pink-fleshed, round-eared being among the metallic giants. She stood straighter, fighting the urge to shrink from curious stares. Elder Torval greeted them at the airlock, flanked by security personnel. The crystals at his temples pulsed with soft green light, matching the ship's interior illumination. "Welcome, Commander Nira," he said formally. Then, with less formality, "Child Lyra, your survival brings hope to our people." His gaze lingered on Kara. "Human Kara, we have prepared quarters for you adjacent to Commander Nira. The Science Council requests your presence after you have rested." "Thank you," Elder Kara replied, mirroring his formal tone. They followed an escort through sweeping corridors. The ship's design featured organic curves rather than harsh angles. Walls contained living material pulsing with light and energy. Nothing felt static, everything seemed alive, responsive. The air carried a scent Kara could only describe as electric clean, with undertones of something like cinnamon. Their quarters surprised her. A spacious chamber with separate sleeping areas and a common living space. One wall opened to a view of space, currently showing the nebula they'd traversed. The furniture adjusted automatically as Kara approached, conforming to her human proportions. The door closed behind their escort, leaving them alone. Lyra immediately claimed a sleeping pod, shaped like a half-shell, diving into it with childish delight. "This is bigger than our old home," she exclaimed. Nira removed her armor piece by piece, revealing the simple bodysuit beneath. She looked different, somehow more vulnerable without the protective plating. "I must report to the council immediately," she said. "You should rest, Kara. The transition to our environment taxes non-native species." "I'm fine," Kara insisted, though fatigue pulled at her limbs. "Is it safe to explore the ship?" Nira touched a panel on the wall, activating a holographic display of the verdant dawn. "You may access public areas. The panel will direct you. Avoid restricted sections marked in red." She hesitated. "The Science Council will have many questions. Some may seem invasive. Remember, you represent your entire species. Their first impression of humanity comes through you." The weight of that responsibility settled heavily on Kara's shoulders. "Should I tell them everything? About Earth? Our technology? Our conflicts?" Nira considered this. "Truth serves best, but wisdom determines which truths require immediate sharing." She touched Kara's shoulder briefly, her metallic fingers cool against human skin. "You have good judgment. I have witnessed it." After Nira departed, Kara explored their quarters, finding a bathing chamber that used sound vibrations rather than water to cleanse, a nutrition station, synthesized food based on biometric scans, the bed adjusted to cradle her, body perfectly luxuries amid the refugee fleet. Lyra watched Kara's exploration with amusement. "Do you like it?" she asked. "Is it very different from Earth?" Holmes, Kara smiled. "It's like something from our science fiction stories, machines that know what you need before you ask." The child nodded seriously. "Machines should serve life, not control it. That's what Mother says. The Draenei let their technology think for them. We keep ours aware but subservient. Such wisdom from one so young," Kara thought. Then, again, Lyra had witnessed the fall of her civilization, lived as a fugitive across the stars. Perhaps such experiences aged one prematurely. While Lyra napped, Kara used the room's information system to learn about Valeri culture. Their civilization spanned 12 star systems before the Draenei attack. Their society organized around knowledge specialization, with councils of experts guiding decisions rather than individual rulers. The crystalline implants served as both status markers and functional tools, storing information, enhancing natural abilities, and connecting individuals to the collective knowledge base. After several hours, a chime announced a visitor. Kara opened the door to find a Valari female. Her skin a burnished copper tone with delicate crystal patterns trailing down her neck and arms. Her height matched Kara's unusual for the typically tall species. "I am Senna," she introduced herself. "Research Specialist 3rd Tier. I have been assigned as your cultural liaison." Her voice carried a musical quality, each word precisely enunciated. She studied Kara with open fascination. "May I enter?" Kara welcomed her. Senna moved with grace, settling on a contoured seat that adjusted to her form. "I have studied all available data on Earth. Species," she began. "But it is insufficient. Would you permit biological scanning? Non-invasive, of course. Purely for scientific record." The directness startled Kara, though she appreciated the honesty. "What kind of scanning?" Senna produced a small device. From her pocket, it measures cellular structure, energy patterns, biochemical composition, helps us understand your nutritional needs, environmental requirements, medical concerns, practical considerations. Kara realized, of course. The device hummed softly as Senna moved it around Kara's body, stopping occasionally to record specific readings. "Fascinating," the Valari murmured. "Carbon-based as expected, but your cellular repair mechanisms are quite different. And your energy field." She looked up, eyes wide, with scientific excitement. "You process radiation differently than any species in our records. Less efficiently than Valari, but more dynamically. Your cells adapt rather than channel. Is that good or bad?" Kara asked. "Neither, simply different." Senna continued. Her scan. "Our medical protocols will need adjustment for your physiology." She hesitated. "Your reproductive system remains functional." Kara blinked at the personal observation. "Yes." More curiosity lit Senna's eyes. "Your species reproduces sexually." Paired. Genetic material. Binary sexes. This conversation had taken an unexpected turn. "Yes," Kara confirmed. "Is that unusual?" Senna nodded. "The majority of advanced species evolve toward asexual reproduction or genetic engineering, especially those who achieve space travel. Binary reproduction creates unnecessary biological variance inefficient." Kara found herself defending human evolution. "That variance gives us adaptability. Humans live in virtually every environment on Earth, from deserts to Arctic regions. Our differences make us stronger." Senna's crystal implants pulsed with color. "An interesting perspective. The Valari value biological consistency, predictable traits, controllable outcomes." She studied her readings. "Your metabolism runs quite hot. Would you like nutrition calibrated to your system?" The abrupt subject change felt deliberate. Kara realized Senna had likely sensed her discomfort. "Yes, please. I haven't had proper Earth food in days." While Senna prepared a meal, Kara asked questions about the fleet, their destination, their plans for surviving the Draenei pursuit. The research specialist provided careful answers, clearly weighing what information could be shared. "The sanctuary moon orbits a gas giant in an unnamed system," she explained. "Remote, difficult to detect. Most importantly, shielded from standard scanning technology. The outpost there predates our conflict with the Draenei, a contingency established generations ago." "How many survived?" Kara asked softly. Senna's movement slowed. "Less than 1% of our population. Perhaps 15,000 souls from a civilization of millions." She set down a plate containing what appeared to be colored cubes. Their escape prioritized by knowledge specialty, children, genetic diversity, cultural artifacts. Those who could rebuild survivors' guilt. Kara recognized the emotion behind Senna's clinical description. "Did you lose family?" The Valari nodded. "My entire research unit. My bonded partner's 3 children old enough for separate quarters." She touched her crystal implants. "The knowledge survives that matters most." Kara reached out, touching Senna's metallic hand briefly. "I'm sorry." The Valari looked startled by the contact, then composed herself. "The gesture is appreciated." She pushed the plate toward Kara. "This should approximate proteins and carbohydrates familiar to your system." The food tasted better than Kara expected. almost like a combination of sweet potato and chicken with unfamiliar spices. As she ate, Lyra emerged from her sleeping pod, rubbing her eyes. The child brightened, seeing Senna rushing forward for an embrace. "Aunt Senna," she cried. "You survived?" Senna lifted the child, her formal demeanor softening. "I promised I would, didn't I?" Her eyes met Kara's over Lyra's head. "We share genetic lineage. My sister Viridian was her mother." Understanding dawned. Family ties transcended species. It seemed Kara watched as Senna examined Lyra with the same scanning device, checking her health and energy levels. The child submitted, patiently, clearly accustomed to such monitoring. "Your energy signature grows stronger," Senna observed. "You've channeled recently." Lyra nodded proudly. "I disabled a pursuer, protected our ship." Senna looked alarmed at Nira for allowing such risk. "Necessity," Lyra answered before Kara could. "The Draenei would have captured us." The researcher's expression remained troubled, but she did not argue. Further discussion halted as the door opened, admitting Nira. The warrior had changed into formal attire. A fitted jumpsuit with crystalline patterns matching her daughter's. Her posture rigid with tension. "The council convenes," she announced. "They wish to see all of us now." Chaos engulfed the verdant dawn. Alarms blared through every corridor. Valeri rushed to battle stations or evacuation points. The ship trembled as defensive shields activated. The peaceful research vessel, transforming into a reluctant warship, Senna, led them through emergency passages, routes reserved for high-priority evacuees. The researcher moved with surprising speed for a non-warrior, her copper skin reflecting the red emergency lights. Lyra stayed between them, protected front and back by adult guardians. Nira took the rear position, her weapon ready, her senses alert for danger. "How many ships?" Kara asked breathlessly, as they descended through the levels of the massive vessel. Senna checked her datapad. 8 confirmed Draenei cruisers. 2 command vessels, at least 30 fighter craft. She spoke clinically, though fear tightened her voice. "Elder Torville has ordered all civilians to the sanctuary moon. The fleet will cover their escape. Can we win?" Lyra asked the question they all feared. To voice, Nira answered honestly, "No, little one. Not today. The Draenei outnumber us, but we can survive, we can escape. That is victory enough." They reached a secondary launch bay smaller than the main docking area. Several small craft waited, engines humming, with premature activation. Other Valeri families loaded essential supplies and cultural artifacts. Scientists carried data crystals containing generations of knowledge. Artists protected creations that represented their civilization's achievements. Survival became preservation, Kara realized, not just of lives, but of everything that made life meaningful. Senna directed them toward a sleek vessel near the bay's exit. "Our transport," she explained, "already programmed for the sanctuary moon, will launch automatically when full." The ship shuddered violently, throwing them against the wall. Something struck the verdant dawn with terrifying force. The artificial gravity fluctuated momentarily. Loose items floated, then crashed back to the floor as systems compensated. "Direct hit," Senna reported, checking her instruments. "They target our propulsion systems," a voice echoed through the communication system. "All personnel evacuate sections 17 through 22. Hull breach imminent, emergency seals activating." Nira looked up sharply. "That's near the primary shield generators." Another blast rocked the ship, more powerful than the first. The lights failed, completely replaced seconds later by dim emergency illumination. Kara helped Lyra regain her footing, the child trembling, but silent. Her discipline remarkable for one so young. "We must hurry," Senna urged. "The defensive screen cannot hold against sustained assault." They resumed their journey toward the escape vessel. Halfway across the bay, a new alarm sounded. This one higher, pitched more urgent. Nira froze, her posture suddenly alert. "Boarding alarm," she hissed. "They've breached the ship." Kara's heart raced. The enemy no longer abstract but physically present aboard the Valeri flagship. She looked at Lyra. The child they all sought to protect, the future of an entire civilization, compressed into one small being. Nira made a swift decision. "Senna, get them to the transport." Now I will delay any pursuit. No, Kara protested. We stay together. The warrior shook her head. This is not negotiable. The child must reach safety. My duty remains clear. She touched Lyra's head briefly, a gesture of affection, then met Kara's eyes. Guard her with your life, human. The future depends on it. Before Kara could argue further, Nira turned running, toward the bay entrance, her weapon extending to full length. The warrior disappeared into the corridor, heading toward the sounds of conflict. Senna pulled Kara's arm. We must go. More evacuation pods launch every moment. Space in our transport limited. They continued across the bay, reaching the designated vessel. A small craft designed for efficiency rather than comfort. Approximately 20, Valeri already occupied the interior. Scientists, children, essential personnel. Frightened faces looked up as they entered. Senna guided Lyra to a secure seat, helping her with restraints, then turned to assist others. The researcher, assuming command, organizing the evacuation with methodical precision. Kara remained near Lyra, providing silent reassurance while scanning the bay entrance, waiting for Nira. Hoping against reason the warrior would appear, the ship's communication system crackled. Draenei forces have entered Section 12. All security personnel engage. Protect evacuation routes. Section 12. Kara thought with growing horror that's where Nira went. Lyra clutched her hand. The child's fingers ice cold. I can feel her, she whispered. She fights for us. The transport ship hummed as pre-flight sequences initiated. Hatches began closing, sealing passengers. Inside, Kara made a sudden decision, stepping away from Lyra toward the exit. Senna blocked her path. What are you doing? I can't leave her behind, Kara said, the words burning in her throat. I have to help Nira. The researcher gripped her arm tightly. Your obligation remains with the child. You promised, Lyra spoke, her voice carrying unexpected authority. She will return with my mother. Her eyes meeting Kara's. She must. Senna, you will guard me until they return. The copper-skinned Valeri hesitated, torn between protocol and the child's command. Go, Senna said, finally releasing Kara's arm. But understand this. If you both die, the child loses twice. Kara slipped through the hatch before it sealed completely. Crossing the launch bay at a run. She had no weapon, no armor. Nothing but determination and the combat training Nira had provided. Her human body fragile compared to the metallic Valeri, far more vulnerable than either combatant species. She followed the sounds of battle. The distinctive hum of Valeri energy weapons. The sharp crack of Draenei rifles. Voices shouting in languages she could not understand. Moving through corridors now empty of civilians. Only the occasional wounded Valeri security officer struggling toward evacuation points. The eye. Conflict intensified as she approached Section 12. Scorch marks blackened walls. Structural damage revealed inner conduits and support beams. The air carried an acrid scent, unfamiliar and chemical. Bodies lay crumpled at intersections. Both Valeri and what must be Draenei. The latter encased in black armor with featureless helmets. Even in death they revealed nothing of themselves. A familiar sound caught her attention. The distinctive hum of Nira's weapon. Kara followed it, turning a corner to find the warrior surrounded by enemies. Nira fought with devastating grace, her weapon a blur of light and motion. 3 Draenei soldiers already lay at her feet, but 5 more advanced weapons ready. Her armor showed damage, scorch marks and dents, silver. Blood seeped from a wound in her side. Kara looked around desperately for something, anything, to help, her eyes falling on a fallen Draenei weapon. Within reach. If she dared expose herself, one Draenei noticed her, the helmeted head turning in her direction. Weapon raising, Kara dove for the fallen rifle, rolling and coming up with it in her hands. The design unfamiliar but function obvious. She fired, the energy beam striking the Draenei soldier square in the chest. The distraction gave Nira the opening she needed. The warrior spun, driving her weapon through another enemy's armor, then another, her movements precise, deadly efficient. But the remaining Draenei pressed forward, one flanking behind her. Kara fired again and again, her aim improving with each shot. the rifle growing familiar in her hands. She caught the flanking Draenei in the leg, dropping him to one knee. Nira finished the job with a sweeping blow that separated helmet from armor, then silence. The immediate threat eliminated Nira. Turned to Kara, her expression unreadable behind her battle visor. "You should not be here. You shouldn't be alone." Kara countered. The warrior retracted her visor, revealing a face tight with pain and something else. Surprise, perhaps? Even respect. "You fight." Well, for a scientist, Kara approached, examining Nira's wound. The silver blood flowing more freely now. "We need to get you to the transport. More Draenei coming," Nira said, her voice strained. They hunt in waves. As if summoned by her words, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed from an adjacent corridor. Too many, judging by the volume, a full squad perhaps. Kara helped support Nira, the warrior leaning against her, despite obvious reluctance to show weakness. This passage Nira indicated with a nod. A maintenance tunnel, emergency access to the launch bay. They moved as quickly as Nira's injury allowed. The narrow tunnel barely accommodating the warrior's height, forcing her to stoop. The lighting minimal, casting everything in shadows. The ship's communication system continued broadcasting alerts, each more urgent than the last. Hull breach sections 20 through 25, evacuation complete. In those sectors, security teams fall back to defensive position. Alpha emergency launch sequence initiated for remaining transports. The tunnel ended at a maintenance hatch. Nira pressed her hand to the access panel. Nothing happened. She tried again. "Systems failing," she said. "Power rerouted to essential functions." Kara examined the manual override, a simple mechanical system designed for emergencies. She pulled the lever with all her strength. The hatch creaking open, revealing the launch bay beyond. Most transports already gone. Only 3 remained, their engines glowing as they prepared for departure. "Can you run?" Kara asked. Nira straightened, grimacing with pain. "I can fight, I can run." They sprinted across the open space, heading for the transport containing Lyra and Senna. The distance seemed impossible. The ship's hatch already closing, a gap narrowing with each second Senna appeared in the doorway, her copper face showing relief then alarm, her eyes focusing on something behind them. "Look out," she shouted. Kara turned. A Draenei squad had entered the bay, weapons raised. The first shots fired energy bolts. Striking near their feet, Nira pushed Kara forward. "Run, don't stop."